Hi, and welcome to week 8 of Between Two Chambers. I'm Greg Treat of the Oklahoma State Senate.
And I am John Eccles, floor leader of the Oklahoma House of Representatives, and happy to be here. Hard to believe it's already been almost 2 months.
It's crazy. It's very crazy, but it's been a busy 2 months.
We've gotten a lot done.
Yeah, this week, typically the week after you get bills out of the House of Origin, so Senate bills out of the Senate and House bills out of the House, has been referred to as dead week, but this week has been anything but dead.
Well, you've already heard 7 bills off the House floor of the Senate, which is very impressive. We are not there. We're a little behind you on that. Where you guys sent us at least 330 bills. I think I counted 10 good ones, so I didn't want to do all at once.
Hey, I had 8, so I'm glad you found good.
That's right. So we're in that process now of assigning, and you've assigned House bills, I've assigned Senate bills, where we take those bills that our members have worked on and we send them over to the other chamber, and we see what happens in the process.
And we improve House bills, and I don't know what you do with our bills.
Well, we take all your bills with title off and just keep them off. But what has been great about it, I know you and I are both keeping up the reforms that we've done.
Yes.
We're still putting out our agendas ahead of time. I was very proud. The House of Representatives finished a day early in deadline week. And
I'm tired of hearing it. Like I said last week, we will finish early when it comes to House bills.
That's right.
We'll cut it off whether or not we're ready or not.
whether it needs it or not.
Yeah.
And frankly, to my
and we're going alphabetical. The E is the very last letter of the alphabet I'm using. Eccles. Eccles bills go last.
That's what I figured. None of the floor leader tree bills have made my office yet. We'll see what happens. So we've also had some good stuff. Even this week, we had Disability Day, which was wonderful. I know you had lots of constituents.
Very well attended. Yeah, I had a lot of visits. Very productive visits.
It was great, and we passed the DHS supplemental to help the most vulnerable, and I think that's
we'll take that up on Monday of next week, just the timing of it, but we will do it. We will pass it. It's extremely important.
And it goes to show the two bodies are already working together on budgetary issues. I mean, we had meetings today that you and I swear, I think I'm spending all day with you. It's getting annoying.
It really is. I'm tired of you. I'm ready to get gone. Hopefully we can wrap this up.
Be quickly.
Yeah.
So we had our first meeting this morning. It was my first on the teacher pay raise. So
yes.
It's great for the constituents to know. I mean, that was every principle. It was 5 of the top leaders in the House, 5 of the top leaders in the Senate talking nuts and bolts. How are we going to do a teacher pay raise? And those things are happening with the budget too.
I think all committed to the same end. We have different
right.
ideas how to get there, and we're trying to get on the same page. And more details to come on that later once we get more people involved.
And it's great to work with somebody who wants to help. I mean, we have exchange of dialogue in the Senate and of good ideas. You know, this week the Democrat caucus in the House released their budget priority. I was very disappointed. I was excited, but also very disappointed to see they put as one of their priorities a tobacco tax, considering, and you know the background there.
We've given them an opportunity, haven't we?
That's exactly right. Not a single Democrat voted for it this year. Only 2 voted for it in committee. You know, at the end of the day, you got to stand for something. And what we stand for as a Republican caucus is there is going to be a balanced budget, and we're going to fund state government.
Yeah, and stop playing politics with it. You know, I used to work for the minority party. It's well known that on the House, when Republicans were still in the minority, it's real easy to put out press releases and really nice graphics, but when it comes to governing and having help in governing, that's a whole different ballgame, and I haven't seen them come to the table yet.
Well, they haven't. Every major reform we've had in our caucus has been difficult to deal with. They voted against everything dealing with wind. The wind tax credit uniformly were against.
How can you be against reforming the wind tax credit when you're wanting to spend more money in other areas? I don't understand it.
And I've said it before, you can't be against reforming the wind tax credit and for a teacher pay raise. It's pandering, because you can't say I want to spend more money, but at the same time, I want to take on additional liability. It's difficult to govern it for leader. That's the bottom line, and that's what we're doing.
It absolutely is, and we're working together, I think, in an unprecedented fashion still between the House and the Senate. I know Speaker McCall and Pro Tem Schultz have been meeting on a very regular basis, as you and I have as well, and I think that's permeated through the whole chamber. And
all joking aside, honestly, you've pushed me to be a better floor leader with some of the ideas you've come up with, which have been very good. I think we've had a similar effect.
Absolutely.
It's a good, healthy competition, which really transparency has been like never before this year. What will be interesting is we get through the end result. This is where it gets tough.
It does, and it'll get more stressful. I'm sure we'll have some disagreements. Our bodies will have disagreements, but the end goal, I think, almost uniformly is the same. It's just how do we get there on almost all these major issues. we're still working with Representative O'Donnell on your side on criminal justice reform. We're still meeting on that. We had some start in the Senate that we sent to you. That is in that 8 count that I told you.
They are the 8 good ones.
And then he sent a number of really good bills to me, and we're going to probably hear those in committee next week. Meeting with representatives of the governor's office and district attorneys and Representative O'Donnell to make sure we get it right.
And it's not lost on criminal justice reform is such an important priority for both the House and the Senate. When you have the majority whip in Terry O'Donnell, Representative O'Donnell carrying the bills, the majority floor leader carrying them in the Senate, I think the people have spoken. I think they want to see common sense criminal justice reform, and I think that will be one of the major policy wins that we're going to get out of the session.
Oh, absolutely. And many parties are involved. I've met with Director Albaugh at the Department of Corrections. I've met with Terry White at Mental Health. I've met with the governor's office. I've met with a number of people. This isn't just me and O'Donnell just deciding what's right. It's a very complicated web that we're trying to untangle and figure out what the best way to go.
And the DAs are involved. They've been greatly involved.
Yes, absolutely.
And I want to be clear, who hasn't been involved, because we hear about this all the time, is the private prison industry.
I haven't seen them in one meeting.
And I haven't either, but we have brought in, from the prosecution side, the District Attorney's Council has weighed in on a lot of these issues and looked at it from a public
and
safety
and the Public Defender's Office. I will tell you, Oklahoma County Public Defender is awesome in dealing with real reform. It's not a gotcha, it's a what is the best policy. And I've been very impressed working with the district attorneys and the public defenders. Indigent defense is wrapped up into that. Two critically important functions. In fact, we passed a supplemental for OIDS this week as well.
That's right, yeah.
They perform a very important function.
Well, and we have everyone from Scott Biggs in the House, who's a former DA, to Senator Chairman Sykes in the Senate, who's a former public defender. So as those issues keep going, they're going to rise to the forefront of policy, but everything revolves around, we want the citizens to know, we are talking, we are negotiating how we're going to backfill this budget hole, how we're going to do it in a fiscally conservative manner. I'm here to tell you the Oklahoma House of Representatives is not going to raise $1.5 billion worth of new taxes, which is exactly what the Democrats have called for. But what we are going to do in a fiscally responsible manner, there will probably be some revenue increases, as there already have been some, none that we got the minority caucus to go with us on. But we've done some revenue increases, and there probably will be some more, looking at ways to conservatively fund core government functions, because we need to make the state work.
Absolutely, and we mentioned it earlier, but the wind tax credits did come through, the sunset of those wind tax credits, July 1, 2017, so rapidly approaching. It's not through its final step yet. We've got to get it to the floor, off the Senate floor, and then we've got to get it to the governor's desk. But I am confident we will deliver on that. And that is a huge thing going forward on our budget, making sure that we can control our budget long term.
Because Senator, what you and I have talked about before, we've talked about it on this show, with having leadership that will be here in the future, we're not just thinking about next year's budget. We're thinking about the year after and the year after. Because the time to budget for next year is probably last week. I mean, it's already time to get started. And as we continue to have a more fiscally stable path, which is the direction we're going on, there will be things that not everyone will like. And things will not be exactly the way I want it or exactly the way you want it. But I believe Republicans will govern.
I think we will, and I appreciate you all joining us this week, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you.